Welcome to the first PigX event presented by SAPPO, and we are here at Future Africa near the University of Pretoria, and from today on Plaas TV we will be sharing news from this event. Joining me, Johan Kotze, obviously from SAPPO. Johan, what is the idea behind PigX? I mean, you've got an annual congress, you've got an annual general meeting. What would you like to achieve with this event?
So, yeah, I think the main thing is to change minds and the mindset that we have. So we go through so many difficulties in life, especially the pork industry itself. And the way to overcome this is to have a different mind. So it's a clashing of minds where you bring a lot of passionate people, gifted people together, and people just collaborate. It came out of the concept of TEDx, where it's not based on only scientific evidence and a typical technical concept, but more practical, and where people just talk about being human, understand yourself as being a farmer, being human, and maybe family farming. So I think the idea is to say, can we move and change behavior, our own behavior, to succeed in the life that we live?
And also the way we think.
The way we think.
That was very clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, talking about that, we've just been through day one. This is day two. One or two thoughts from yesterday?
Yeah, I think the most provoking one was how the consumers see us as farmers and what they want to understand about what we do. And I think there can be a bit of over-information from our side, but also a space where we never ventured into. And my take out of it is we need to communicate. We need to understand who we deal with. And we need to kind of collaborate with them to say, listen, what do you want to know? The other thing that was quite interesting was the European people we have that spoke here, their understanding of their consumer not understanding the basics of farming. I'm not talking about being a factory farmer or gene editing. I'm talking about just they don't understand farming. And it was for me just an eye-opener that we need to be so clear on who we are and what we do, and we do it with passion.
Well, that's PigX, and as I said, watch this space. We'll be back with more from this first event, PigX 2023. We're back at PigX, and today very excited to talk to Dr. Craig Lewis. Now, he had a very special message to our animal breeders on day one of this event. He represents the European Forum for Animal Breeders. Craig, is it okay if you call you Craig?
Perfect.
Good.
Thank you.
Craig, yes, you spoke about a mindset, a change in mindset as far as animal breeding is concerned. You started off with macro factors influencing Africa at the moment.
Yeah.
Just share a few thoughts?
Yeah, sure. Firstly, a pleasure to be down here again. I mean, it's been a privilege for the last 10 years to work on improving animal genetics in Africa. But I really think we're on the cusp of a paradigm shift in animal breeding and therefore agriculture as a whole. I mean, the title of the presentation was something I really believe in, revolution in evolution. And I really think that if we talk about those macro trends, you know, animal disease here in Africa is absolutely top of the agenda. We need to have healthy animals that are going to produce affordable animal protein. And if we take into account external factors, growing population in sub-Saharan Africa, we need to embrace these new technologies to address some concerns, and then also grow what is a huge potential market, which will be a benefit for the whole African pork industry.
What is gene editing and what is it not?
There you go. So yeah, no, I talked a bit about gene editing, and I'm truly excited about that technology and the power it represents. Gene editing, there's that misconception that it's what we always sort of GMOs going back to like the 1980s. It's not like pulling genes from different things and putting them into the others. Gene editing is just an extension of normal animal breeding. It is about every generation we have normal mutations that happen, but in random places. Gene editing simply is we can select a mutation to happen in a specific place that's going to result in a positive outcome. So in a plant, maybe that's drought resistance or specific insect resistance. In pigs, we can actually be able to make animals that are resistant to certain diseases, and as we can all probably agree, to make more robust animals so we have more healthy, better welfare, reduction of antibiotics. There's a lot of positive good in this from this technology.
What are your concerns? There are a few external factors that you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's many moving parts in the global swine industry. I think the African sector needs to take into account some of these changing dynamics, whether it's from new animal welfare regulations in Europe, which means that maybe there's a fragmentation of breeding in Europe versus the US. One of the questions for me is which way would the South African industry want to go? One of my concerns is maybe we're not moving fast enough from a legislative standpoint to take advantage of these technologies. And considering that the market here in South Africa or sub-Saharan Africa is not just about the industrialized sector, but it's also about empowering those developing farmers, and some of these tools would be really impactful in that market segment.
But how are we doing in South Africa?
Oh, in terms of genetics, in terms of production, the farmers that I work with, I remain very impressed. I mean, for me as a genetic provider and working with the Alzu team here in South Africa, I really want to make sure that I'm delivering the genetic potential. But delivering it is only start of the process. We got to work with the farmers here to extract that genetic potential. And after so many years working in the industry, I remain very confident that we can not only, once we've delivered that genetic potential, those guys can get it out and take advantage of it.
Welfare, animal welfare. You mentioned something that really stuck to me yesterday, and that is the transportation of live animals.
Yeah.
It's quite relevant at the moment. We see it as a future. We're excited when we hear we should transport animals out of this country. But you shared another view yesterday.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I say, it's a very dynamic situation in Europe. There's been scientific opinions published on the future of animal transport. And obviously that's from a European perspective, but the conversation's live here. I think one of the things that we need to do is to be able to secure animal transport for the benefit of the wider industry. I mean, the distribution of elite genetic animals is fundamentally key. But to do that, we have to have social license. We need to be able to demonstrate that we are really making sure that we can transport animals in a welfare-friendly way and very responsibly. And there's new technologies, whether it's sensors, whether it's tracking the trucks, whether it's CCTV inside the trucks. I mean, we must be proactive, not reactive, to demonstrate that we're responsibly moving animals.
Craig, thank you. And that was Dr. Craig Lewis, representing the European Forum for Animal Breeders. And we will be back with more from SAPPO's PigX event.
So ek is Willem de Chafonnes Vrug, ek's 'n varkprodusent van die Noordwes provinsie. Dis die einde van die tweede dag, die laaste dag van PigX in Pretoria. Dit was 'n uitstekende geleentheid gewees. Ek dink SAPPO onder die leiding van Johan en Jolanda het baie goed gedoen. Die sprekers baie goed gewees. Hoe hulle saamgesit het, die verskillende onderwerpe wat oor gepraat is, was baie goed. Ek dink veral vandag wat baie meer gegaan het oor praktiese plaas en produksie en die koste van produksie en om meer ekonomies te boer, was baie goed gewees. So die verwagting wat ek gehad het voor die tyd het heeltemal gerealiseer, en ek sien uit, al is dit eers oor 2 jaar wanneer PigX 2 aangebied gaan word. So ek wil almal wat nie was nie aanraai om wel dan al is dit oor 2 jaar na PigX 2 toe te kom.
Hi, I'm Stephen Butts. I'm a pig farmer from KZN. I'm also the chairman of SAPPO. SAPPO has just hosted its first PigX event. I think it went pretty well. The idea was to open farmers' minds to new ideas, create a platform to collaborate, share ideas, and hopefully address many of the topics that are not necessarily pig-related. So we were quite wide-ranging in terms of the sort of content we presented, and pretty proud how the team executed the event. I think there's a lot of enthusiasm, and hopefully we'll be back in 2 years' time.